For flaw questions on the LSAT, your goal is to identify the flaw in the reasoning of the stimulus. If you'd like to give this question a shot by yourself, pause the video now. Let's begin by reading the stimulus. Here's the stimulus. Although the environmental bill before the legislature is popular with many voters, it will have mainly negative economic consequences if it is passed, especially when we try to lure new businesses to our country. Great leaders have the courage to look beyond popularity to what is sound policy. Legislators ought to do the same by not voting for this bill. Now, let's break it down. The activist argues that legislators should reject the bill, not because it's unpopular with voters, but because it will have negative economic consequences. They then compare legislators to great leaders who supposedly look beyond popularity and focus on sound policy. Here's the issue. The activist is assuming that the only relevant consideration for whether something is sound policy is its economic impact. But that's a huge oversight. What about non-economic benefits of the bill, like environmental protection, public health, or long-term sustainability? The argument ignores these possibilities entirely. That's the flaw. It fails to consider whether non-economic reasons for supporting the bill might actually outweigh the economic downsides. Now, let's test the answer choices. A says the argument assumes most legislators are great leaders. That's not what it does. It says they should be like great leaders, not that they are. Eliminate A. B says it assumes a bill is less likely to pass if it's economically flawed. That's not the point here. This isn't about the likelihood of passage. Not B. C. This is the one. It says the argument fails to consider whether there are non-economic reasons that might outweigh the economic ones. That's exactly the flaw. D talks about whether legislators usually consider economics. That's interesting, but not the flaw in this reasoning. E reverses the argument. It says the activist assumes popular bills are unsound economically, but they don't say that. They say this bill is popular and economically unsound, not that the two are always linked. So the correct answer is C. In flaw questions, always ask, what did they overlook? What assumption are they making? Finally, if you want personalized tutoring to achieve your LSAT goals, be sure to book a free consultation at Hummingbird LSAT Prep.